What I'm going to illustrate here, I've got laying here, is it's called a click rule. You can get these over at National Federation of the Blind. One of our members has made this one, but how long he's going to be making them or whatever, I don't know. But what the click rule is it has it's 3/8 rod, which has 16 threads to an inch. And what he did is he milled off roughly, a little less than a half an inch. I don't have the exact measurement, but I don't know if you can zoom in on this or not. But it has a measurement, has a piece of the thread remaining every half inch. So you have a marking exactly every half inch. And then the underside of this is all milled off flat, which helps you lay it down and have a flat measurement. Your rule is flat. On this unit, in the click rule, I'm going to slide this out. You have 6 inches. It's at its maximum. You have exactly 6 inches from the end of the rod to the side of the cleat. And on the inside of the cleat, I don't know if you can, where I'm pointing here, there's a set screw and a spring and a ball bearing. And I don't know if you pick up on it or not in the sound, but exactly what that's for is exactly every 1/16 of an inch. I'm kind of moving it too quick. I don't know if you pick up on that sound. It clicks every 1/16 of an inch. Thus you get the name click rule. And you can feel it click. You know it's clicking. You know it's changing, which gives you a accurate measurement. On the end of this is a number 10 size. How they get that number, I have no idea. It's a 10-22 thread hole in there. So you can take what these are extension rods. This is a 6-inch extension rod, and it has a 10-22 thread on the end. You could just take them and screw it in like that. Just take it all the way snug. So now, instead of of course, as you already calculated in your minds, I'm sure, instead of the 6 inches, now I got 12 inches. And in all technicality, you can have as many of these extension rods as you want. Extension rods come in 6-inch or a foot long, and I'm sure if somebody wanted to be industrious, you can make them in any length you want. It's easiest if you have them in the even foot. If you want a 5-foot long extension rod, I imagine you could, but you'd have to lean it up against the corner someplace. These here fit nicely in a toolbox. And also, from this edge of this cleat here to this cleat at the bottom is another 6 inches. So that what you can do is, if you do need to add a little extra length, in your measurement, you can add that extra 6 inches too, which makes it a little more convenient. It's right in your hand instead of having to scramble for another extension rod. Also, there's a set screw here with a knurled edge. You can take it and you can turn it just finger snug, and it locks it in place. So if I need to take something down, let's say for quick, easy mathematics, take something down to, I'm going to resume. The camera decided to shut itself off. It does that every 3 minutes, I think. So, let's say I'm going to take a measurement. I'm going to measure something. I want something exactly 1 1/8 inches. So I'm going to slide it down, to the 1 inch, and you get your thumb or your finger right there, right at the 1 inch, is ½ inch, and then 1 inch right up there. Then I know I need it, it's a 1/16 of an inch each click, so I extend it out 2 clicks. So there's 1 inch and 1/8. There's 1/16, 1/16 is 1/8, or 2/16, but we break it down to the most, to the lowest common denominator. So there's 1 inch and 1/16, or 1/8. Well, we're back on. Hopefully this will do a little better, seeing that apparently we're running out of battery on the camera. So change the battery, so hopefully it'll behave itself. Fun stuff. Just a quick review. Have this at there's a mark at every ½ inch. These here run from here to here is 6 inches with a mark, or you can feel a mark at every ½ inch. So there's 12 of those marks. And you got 6 inches from the edge here to the cleat, and another 6 inches from this cleat back to this cleat here, which is on the underside. Of course, there's extension rods. It comes with the click roll. You've got 2 1-foot extension rods, the 6-inch extension rod. So in all actuality, you can get up to 42 inches, including this back part here, because you got 6 inches, another 6 inches, that's a foot. 1 extension rod, that's 24 inches, 36 inches plus the 6-inch would be a total of 42 inches. You can measure it. And if you had a couple of these click rolls, you can do like what I do and use more extension rods if you need longer lengths. Just to show how to measure with something like this, I'm just going to put the cleat right up against the edge of this board here on this. Right there, I got it right at that point. I can't feel the second notch. It's up inside the click rule, so I'm going to click it out, count how many clicks I got. 1, 2, 3. Alright, it's 3/16 of an inch. Over 1 inch would be 3/16. So subtract 3/16 from an inch, so that's 11. That's 13/16. So this little board right here on this homemade thing here is 13/16 of an inch thick. Back here, now there's a little bit difference. I can feel it. Little difference. It was this backboard here isn't as thick as the rest of it. It's about a 1/16 of an inch. When I slide the rule in again, 1/16 of an inch. So it's 4/16. So 4/16, that's 3/4 of an inch. And you know, basically it gives you an idea how to measure with this. What this piece here is, I made this for church for folding bulletins. Paper is normally 8.5 by 11 standard, what you buy at the store. So what I did was, when I made this, I need paper to be folded exactly at halfway point, which would be 5.5 inches. So I measured this here, 6 inches. Then I click it in to the 5.5 inches. I locked it down. Then I was able to take and transpose this measurement, this 5.5 inches, which, as we can check accuracy, yep, it's right there. 5.5 inches evenly. And what I did is, I'm going to move over here. I had set my and what I did is I set the fence, let me move this board here, to what I needed to cut that at. Just right there. Whoops, I moved it. There. I got 5.5 inches right from the edge of this blade over to the fence. I lock this down. And then to make sure that the fence is square, I have it right there. Yep. Right there. And lock that down. So now, if I need to cut something 5.5 inches, it would just run right on through there. Of course, you'd have your guard down. And the ring of the blade. Let me drop that blade down a little bit as I hit it. Okay, so basically it gives you an idea of how to set something and how to use that measurement to transpose from what you're measuring there over to here. 5.5 inches. There's my move the guard up out of the way, and there's, as you can see, there's 5.5 inches from the edge side of the blade here to the fence. So what I'm going to cut is 5.5 inches. Now calculating, depending on what kind of measurement, what you're calculating, there's times when you got to take into account the thickness of the blade. Well, the plywood blade, you're talking 1/16 of an inch. But let's check it. Take it to 0. I'm just going to bring it out 1/16. Measurement. Yep, right on. So the end of the click rule is right at the, it lines right up with the edge. Right there. I'm a little angled because of the fence, but gives you an idea. That's the thickness of it. So sometimes you've got to calculate that into like if you're, depending on what you're cutting or whatever, you got to figure that accordingly. You can also, I'm going to grab an extension rod here and put that on. 6-inch extension. Yeah, let's go with a foot. Help if I get the right end in there. Screw it in. Come on. There it goes. Let's say I'm going to measure, and let's say I'm going to be making a board. I'm going to project. I need to cut an angle at the end of the board, but I need to make 4 of these. So I have a little miniature fence set up on this T-square. And I have the T-square set for an angle. I don't have an actual angle set aside. I'm just using this as illustration. But I'm going to set this up where I got the edge of the cleat right at my little fence, and I'm going to take and I'm going to bring this in to whatever I'm going to need to set that angle up at, just for illustration purposes. There we go. So now I got my length set for this fence over to where I'm going to need the cut. And then all I'd have to do if I wanted to make these pieces is just run it into the blade. Now that I got this set, I could just run them into the blade. Of course, get your click rule out of the way. You don't want to cut it. and that's what would make my angle. Like I say, I'm just doing this as illustration. I'm not making any cuts. I'm not doing a project quite like right now. But there's different ways, and hopefully doing this, me running through these motions, you get an idea of what you can do with a click rule in making your various measurements, how to take those measurements and use those measurements. I used this click rule when we closed in our breezeway. When it come to cutting vinyl siding, I had the exact measurement of what I needed. I took the measurement. Let's say if I needed to cut some vinyl siding or whatever, I set the click rule for the distance I needed to cut, and then I laid it out on the radial arm saw, put a plywood blade in it and reversed it, so you're actually just melting your way through it. And I made all my cuts that way, and cutting the 2x4s or whatever. And I mostly used the click rule. Handy little hand gadget to have for us blind or visually impaired. People who are the guy who made this, he's totally blind and he uses this. And I'm also going to be setting up a video with him illustrating the micrometers and such that he uses, him being totally blind. So regardless whether you have some sight, usable vision, or no vision at all, if you learn how to measure and be competent at what you're doing, there's no reason why you can't measure what you need to measure with, and just completely use your touch to get your measurements. I cannot read the indications on a tape measure anymore. Those go down to a 1/16 of an inch, but this completely replaces the tape measure. So, okay, so hopefully this will illustrate it, and you'll be seeing this on YouTube, and of course linking to our website, which is acb-tusc.org. Alrighty, bye for now.